What was Operation Black Biscuit?
Well, Black Biscuit was a guy named Jay Dobyns, who was an ATF agent, and he infiltrated the Arizona Hells Angels as a prospect. Now, he claims he was voted in the club, and then a day or two after he was voted in the club, the ATF pulled him out. He tells a pretty convincing story. I know people that are big club supporters don't like to hear me say that, but I mean, the truth speaks for itself. Do I think he got voted in the club? There's a possibility he did. The way he explains it in his interviews and whatnot, it seems feasible to me, but he was undercover. He was supposed to be a guns dealer, collection guy. And the biggest thing that turned me off to him was he staged a murder. Are you familiar with the murder he staged?
Mm-hmm.
They killed a, reputed to be a Mongol. They take one of the ATF agents or one of the infiltrators. They put him in a Mongol jacket. They bring him out in the desert, take some cow brains, set it up like he got shot in the head, take a picture, and then start circulating around the club. Well, when that picture got to me, I burned it. I didn't want nothing to do with that picture. I didn't want to see it. And everybody that came in contact and asked me my opinion about it, I said, look, man, I've never known anybody that killed anybody and took a picture and passed it around. And I said, this don't feel right. It don't look right. And if it is, this guy's super stupid. And I go, I don't want nothing to do with him. So I removed myself from the guy. I never was close to him anyways. But he busted a lot of guys, Now, you're familiar with the shootout with the Mongols in 2002 in Laughlin?
Yes.
Yeah. He was there. He wasn't at the shootout. And I don't know if that was by accident or design that he didn't go there. But, here's another situation. You've got 10 Hells Angels staying at the Harrah's Casino in Laughlin. You got the rest of the Hells Angels staying at Flamingo. You've got 100 Mongols at Harrah's club with the 10 or so Hells Angels there. The law enforcement comes down to the Flamingo and says, are there any leaders around there? And, there's no leaders there at the time. I wasn't allowed to go. I was on high control probation at the time for that tax case with the racketeering thing, the state racketeering. Mm-hmm. People are going, no, there's nobody out here. And they go, well, just wanted you to know there's 100 Mongols surrounding your guys down there at Harrah's. So what does everybody do? All the guys that are out there, like 30 of them, jump on their motorcycles, ride down to Harrah's, and a big fight ensues. Now, if the police had never made that offhand comment, that gunfight maybe never would have took place. I mean, we don't know for a fact, but no one had intentions to go down there until the police alerted the Hells Angels at the Flamingo that the Hells Angels were grossly outnumbered by the Mongols at the Harrah's Casino. And that's what prompted everyone to go down there. And that's on the record. That's not, I'm not pulling that out of thin air. I mean.
No, I watched the video.
Yeah,
of the whole thing. It's wild. It was insane. It was insane melee. Bro.
Yeah.
Insane.
It starts off with
the one guy kicking the Mongol in the chest. One of your guys kicked the Mongol in the chest.
I can't think of the member's name. I mean, I know him. I've known him for 30 years. Mm-hmm. He's in prison again right now. And but he Ray. Yeah, Ray walked up to that Mongol and said something, kicked him in the chest, and all hell broke loose. You can't really see the whole kick. All you can see is him up and kicking the Mongol's leg, obscured by the slot machine.
Right, that's right.
I talked to a lot of civilians that were there, and they said the bullets were ricocheting off the slots, and people were hitting the ground. And you can see. Did you see that one Hell's Angel, Calvin? He's calculating like.
Yep.
I mean, he's just he's keeping his group tight.
He keep his group tight. Yeah.
He's like really focusing on who he's shooting at.
And then the one guy, the one Mongol who walks by the Hell's Angel, and he's this whole melee is going on around him, and he seems to be casually walking by. And then the one Hell's Angel who was consoling, like the first guy who took the first two shots, the first Hell's Angel, one of the ones who died, who took the first two shots in the back, he's consoling that guy, gets up, and as the casually walking by Mongol walks by, he walks behind him and casually hits him in the back of the head with a wrench, and then turns around like he was tapping him, get his attention, and goes back to his brother on the ground.
Yeah, it's a big old wrench like this. And he clocks him right in the back of the head.
But the guy walked by like he wasn't. His head wasn't on a swivel or nothing. He just walking straight like somebody had randomly called his name or something. He just walking by.
It's strange. My turn, number 8.
It's strange. That shit was strange. Vlad interviewed former ATF undercover agent J. Dobyns.
He did. I didn't know that.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
And he said that the ATF were corrupt and criminals. Those are his statements on to Vlad. And he said that after a 2-year deep cover operation that left him exposed to a contract on his life, they tried to frame him for burning down his own. The ATF tried to frame him for burning down his own family, his own house with his family in it.
Yeah, they there's accusations that he burnt his own house down, and that's coming from the feds. So, as a former Fed, he now is being accused by his former associates of staging a arson.
That's outrageous. That's crazy. Yeah. I understand that we're coming up on the anniversary of the passing of your eldest son, George III, who died in his sleep August 5th, 2015 at the age of 39. My condolences.
Thank you. Yeah, Georgie was a good kid, and I miss him. Think about him probably, at least once a day. And, I mentioned earlier, like I've had profound dreams my whole life, and I think he's in a good place. I don't dream about him too much anymore. He's come to me in dreams, and wherever he's at, I think he's happy. I haven't heard from him lately, so I'm going to figure everything's okay where he's at.
You rode with the Hells Angels for 40 years, 35 of those years as a member. And then in 2011, you abruptly quit. Why?
Well, we had become the people we rebelled against. And that's how I saw it. And I had lost interest in what we were doing. I think us as an organization had lost direction, if you will. We were fighting wars on 5 fronts. All the wars had sparked up again. At that particular point in time, we were fighting the Mongols, the Banditos, the outlaws, and law enforcement. And we were getting ready to engage the Vagos. And, I stood up in the meeting and I said, historically, we're running out of people to fight. And when you run out of enemies, you turn inward. And I said, I don't want to be here for that. And, I'm not happy that what I said came to fruition, but 2 months later, they ran into the Vagos, and one of the San Jose leaders got killed by the Vagos. At the funeral, there was an argument who was responsible, and one Hell's Angel was physically struck by another Hell's Angel, and that Hell's Angel pulled out a gun and shot him in front of 7,000 witnesses. So, we had ultimately, turned against each other, and I don't wish the Hell's Angels any ill will. Are they off track? You'd have to ask them. I'm not there anymore. I don't know what's going on. All I know was I'm a big advocate for the Hells Angels, and I'm a big advocate for all outlaw bike clubs. I live with the spirit of the outlaw. But I think a lot of the clubs and a lot of the people doing it nowadays have lost sight of, in my book, Exile on Front Street, you can see my definition of an outlaw. You know, people confuse the outlaw with the criminal. I think you're familiar
Yes.
with that passage
Yes, indeed. Yes, I am.
in the front. And I think that I gave them my best. Like I said, rode with them for 40 years, 35 years. I was a leader and a voice for the Hells Angels. And, you know, it was time for me to move on. And I don't wish them any ill will. And I hope they don't wish me any either.
Right.